Sophie, and today we're going to talk about a couple of arm balances. These are approachable for both beginners and more advanced students. However, I would recommend that you've got a solid crow pose before you start doing these poses. So we're going to work with Bhujapidasana and then Tittibhasana from there. So for both these poses, as I suggested in many of my videos, I would do at least 10 sun salutation A before doing these, and maybe a few sun salutation B, and preferably some hamstring and hip opening poses beforehand. You may also want to warm up the wrists and hands and the shoulders. So to come into Bhujapidasana, we're going to take the feet a little bit wider than hip width apart, maybe sort of mat width apart. And then you're going to bend the knees and you're going to start to come down and just wriggle your right shoulder underneath your right thigh as much as you can, holding onto the back of the right ankle. And then you're going to take your left hand behind your left thigh. Again, have a wriggle here. Get as deep underneath as you possibly can, the shoulders under the thighs. Then you're going to take your hands back onto the mat, fingertips face forwards, hands shoulder width apart, and then rest all the way down, bending your elbows. Then bend your knees and literally come to sit on top of your upper arms. From here, you're going to start to tilt your weight backwards and literally sit on your upper arms, lifting maybe just one foot, and then the other foot, perhaps lifting both feet. And then you're going to cross the ankles together and lift the feet up off of the mat. So balancing here on your upper arms, focusing on a point in front of you on the floor. You're aiming for 5 breaths here. And when you've done your 5 breaths, uncrossing the feet and maybe just slowly lowering yourself all the way back down to the floor. So this does require quite a lot of upper body strength and core strength. The main thing that you want to be thinking about when you're in this pose is really squeezing the knees onto the upper arms and engaging through the core. Also, you're going to need to take your weight a little bit further forward rather than back, because you've got to try and make your body into like a scale. So your head and your bottom are different ends of the scale, your arms at the balance point in the middle, and you've got to make them balance. So usually, obviously, the head has got to come further forward than the bottom. If you're a little bit tighter through the hips, you might find it difficult to get the hands down onto the mat behind you. So I would recommend here, if that is the case, do take a couple of blocks or bricks behind you, and then you can place the hands down onto the bricks like so, or onto the blocks, and try again. So we'll just go through that one more time. So sitting here, engaging through your core, starting to tilt the weight forwards, and lift one foot, and then maybe cross the ankles, and in pressing through the hands, and you breathe here for 5. So don't worry if you do wobble back a few times, that's perfectly normal. It might also be quite nice just to take a cushion actually behind you at first. So if you do rock back onto your bottom, you can just come up again. But this is a pose that does take a lot of time and practice to master. So just keep coming back to it a little bit every single day, and eventually you'll be up there and balancing. So the next variation is something that we're going to come into called Tittibhasana, which you can get into easily from Bhujapidasana. So once again, starting in exactly the same way, you're going to have your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart. Snuggle your shoulders underneath your thighs as much as you can, and then take the hands down onto the mat behind you. Sit down on your upper arms, take your weight onto your upper arms, and then lift one foot, lift the other foot, and come here to balance with straight legs in a straddle position for 5 breaths. And when you've done your 5, again, you can just lower yourself down to the ground or come all the way up to standing. So I would definitely suggest mastering Bhujapidasana first, the first one. When you're nice and solid in that, it is literally a case of just uncrossing the ankles, squeezing the thighs more, and then starting to straighten out through the legs. The main limiting factors in these poses are the hips and also the hamstring. For the first one, if you're looking at the hips, if they're not open enough, it'll be hard to get the hands behind. That's when you need your blocks. For the second one, once you've mastered the first one, it's the hamstrings. They need to be quite open in order for legs to come straight. They don't need to be all the way straight. You can have them a little bit bent or starting to work towards straightening them. Thank you very much for having a go at these fun arm balances with me today. If you do have any questions, and I'm sure you will because these can be a bit tricky, then please do comment below, or if you'd like to subscribe, you can above. Thank you very much, and namaste.